This is the drill press station in the Centennial Junior High wood shop. The two main drill presses that we have in this shop are both Powermatic. The Powermatic floor model drill presses are really convenient, easy machines to use as long as you make sure that you follow certain safety operations and procedures. Make sure that you consult either the Centennial safety manual or Mr. Smith's webpage for safe operation of the drill presses. Always make sure that you use the correct tool in the drill press as well. You always want to make sure that the shank of the bit or any tool that you're using is smooth. You would never want to use something like this. This is meant for the hand drill or the brace. Those are hand tool operations. Those are not power tool operations. So this tool does not have a smooth shank. You would want to make sure that the shank on the tool that you're using in the drill press is smooth. Any of the tools stored in this cabinet are considered to be safe for using with our drill presses in the shop. We have spade bits for rough cutting. There are some twist drills that can be safe to use in metal or wood. We have some Forstner bits that make a really fine, large, smooth bottom hole. And then various other specialty bits. Anything in the cabinet can generally be used in our drill press. Install a bit by inserting the chuck key in one of the holes and turning it until the teeth of the chuck are open far enough to insert the shank of the bit. Insert it about halfway, about a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch in. Snug it down by hand. Use the chuck key again to tighten it in at least 2 of the holes in the chuck. That keeps the gears from the chuck from getting stripped out. Remember that drill press speed depends upon the size of the drill bit or the tool that you're using. You want to make sure that you use a lower speed for larger shank bits such as this, and then you can speed it up and use faster speeds for smaller bits. Also remember that if you're doing special operations like sanding or routing or that kind of thing with the drill press, that you secure the shank of the tool into the chuck securely, clamp it securely, and then for sanding operations and routing operations on the drill press, you want to make sure that you're running at a pretty fast speed. Speed can be adjusted on the shop drill presses 2 ways. By either moving the belt on separate pulleys as shown in the diagram on drill press number 2, or turn the speed dial on drill press number 1. So speed can be adjusted 2 separate ways. If you're using the drill press number 1 and you're going to use the speed adjustment dial, you must always make sure that the drill press is running whenever you're adjusting the speed. On drill press number 2, it's just the opposite. To adjust the speed, you have to make sure that the drill press is turned off. The drill press is turned. You adjust the drill press table by loosening the handle on the side and then firmly grasping either side of the table and moving it down or gently moving it up. Before you retighten the clamp on the table, always make sure that the bit is centered up in the hole in the table. That keeps you from destroying the bits whenever you are doing a drilling operation. Then make sure that the table clamp is secured before moving on to the next operation. Before beginning any drilling operation, make sure that you have a scrap board placed on the table. That'll assure you that you get a clean cut whenever the bit comes out of the back side of the board. So place the scrap board on the top side of the table before you begin any drilling operation. Another important piece of safety information is whenever you're inserting a bit into the drill press, you want to make sure, as mentioned before, that you snug it in by hand and then use the key to tighten the chuck. Never ever turn on the drill press unless you make sure that the key is removed from the chuck. If you leave that key in the chuck and you go ahead and turn on the drill press and start the drilling operation, it could throw it out and it could become a flying projectile around the shop and it could hurt someone. So always make sure before you walk away from the drill press that chuck key is put back in the cabinet where it belongs. If you ever have a drilling operation in an oversized board, you always want to make sure that the longer end of the board is to your left. What happens with that is if the long side of the board is to the left, when you're doing your drilling operation and you pull the feed lever into the board, if it happens to get bound, the board will swing around to the right and hit the column. If you don't have that long end of the board to your left, there's a chance that if it binds, it could come into your body and hit you. So big safety tip, always have the long end of any board that you're drilling into off to your left-hand side. Remember that if you're ever doing a drilling operation in large stock or with a larger bit, you want to use some sort of a C-clamp. You want to make sure that the board is clamped securely to the table before you begin the operation. This is a big safety reminder for you when using the drill press, because you don't want the board to break away and fly off the drilling table whenever you're completing your operation. So clamp it securely, make sure the board is down tight, go ahead and turn on the drill press and complete your drilling operation.
Chewing on a piece of grass.
When you get ready to perform your drilling operation, the first thing that you need to do is make sure that the depth stop is raised high enough so when you pull the feed lever down, it doesn't stop your drilling operation. Next step is to make sure that the center of the bit is lined up in the location, center of the location that you're going to drill. Back it out a little. Start the machine. Complete your drilling operation. You want to make sure that you drill through a little bit. Back out a little bit. That keeps the sawdust from building up in the hole and overheating the drill. Drill through until you break through the back side. Pull it out. Stop the machine. Wait a second for it to come to a stop. Clean it up, and you complete your first drilling operation. Depth stop is used for drilling a specific depth in a board. To adjust the depth stop, you just turn the bottom ring to your desired height. Then you have to use a ruler or a tape measure to measure the distance between the bottom ring and the depth stop. Don't trust the measurements on the depth stop because those don't necessarily coordinate with the depth of the bit, the distance of the bit from the table. So measure there, and then you want to bring the top ring down. The top ring is merely a locking mechanism to keep the bottom ring from moving whenever you're doing your drilling operation. That's the adjustment for the depth stop. The quill lock is used for locking the drill chuck down into a lower position for operations such as with the drum sander. Bring the drum sander down into the special cutout tabletop, bring it down into the location that you want it, and all you do is turn the quill lock and lock it down, and it holds the quill, the drill chuck, down into position so you can complete your sanding operations. As with any machine in the shop, whenever you complete a special setup, please make sure that you return the machine back to the original operation setup. Last but not least, whenever you complete your drilling operation, you always want to make sure that you leave the machine the way it was when you came here. You always want to remove the bit. Remember, when you remove that bit, you don't want to leave the chuck key in the chuck. Put those back in the cabinet. And then always make sure that you clean up the machine and leave it clean and in the same condition that you found it.
Ain't it foggy outside? All the planes have been grounded. Ain't the fire inside? Let's all